Hi, and welcome to episode 100. I can't believe I'm even saying that, of M1 Yarns and the Michigan Makers podcast. I'm Jamie, your host and the dyer behind m1yarns.com. And if you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, thanks for coming back. Thanks for sticking with me. If you've been here from the beginning, every episode, my dog Daisy kicks the tripod and she never fails. She's getting very old and she has a lot of heavy breathing. She's on a lot of pain meds for her arthritis. She has a lot of lumps, lady lumps and bumps, as I like to call them. But she loves when I podcast. She always comes and sits with me. As always, we're off to a wild start, and I already forgot what I was saying. Yes, if you've been with me since the beginning, incredible. It's been just over 5 years and lots of changes, lots of craziness. And yeah, I'm just like, I'm always winging it. I always have a plan and then I sit down and it's like a whole, what the heck am I doing? So you kind of get like the real deal here. We don't sugarcoat too much. I do edit out a lot of the craziness. But anyway, it's been 100 episodes, and no, this is not any sort of special episode. I just had a few things I wanted to talk about, and I had done my hair and makeup because we have dinner plans for a friend's wife's birthday, and I'm not even sure about my outfit. This is what I was going to wear. I've had this blouse for probably, I don't know, 15 years. I never wear it. It's really fun and like floral and springy. And I paired it with some green satin pants and some really fun floral multicolor shoes. Trying to manifest spring because spring is just not happening here in Metro Detroit. We've had snow this week. We've had, was that last week we had heavy rain? Yeah, that was last week. It's been crazy. So anyway, if you are here for a knitting / spinning / fiber arts related podcast, you're in the right spot. And if none of that is your jam, stick around. You might be inspired. You might catch the knitting bug. But if you are a yarny person, grab your whip and a beverage. I'm trying to stay hydrated. I don't think I've had all my water today. So before I go out and have a cocktail or two, I'm going to try to get my water in. So join me on that. And then the cocktail for you too. Okay, so I have a few fun things to talk about. But as you can probably tell, I'm just like trying to like find a moment of peace. Sometimes recording is really good for me to reflect on what's been going on, what I want to do, where I'm at with things. And while I was curling my hair is naturally curly, but it wasn't happening today. So I had to get out the curling wand. So while I was doing that, I had my phone propped up on a shelf in my bathroom, right at eye level, like right here. And I watched on 2x speed the last episode because it was so long ago. I couldn't remember what the heck I talked about. And one thing that I mentioned in that episode, if you saw it, was I was knitting the flax sweater by Tin Can Knits using hand spun yarn held with mohair. And when I split for the sleeves, like right here, there was this, it was a new skein of yarn. It was this dark color shift that like formed this band. And on camera, you could see it so bad. And as I was talking through it on the episode, I was like, yeah, as much as it pains me, I have to frog this. I have to start over, and I need to alternate skeins using the helical method. Why I always forget to do this is beyond me. I frogged the sweater. I will return to it in the fall So for those of you that were screaming at your screen like, just do it, Jamie, I did it. I did it. I had to text a few friends and cry a few tears, but I did it. But would you believe I did not alternate skeins on my newest cast on? And it dawned on me last night. Without fail, every time I record a podcast episode, I get a delivery. And the dogs go crazy, and all hell breaks loose, and then I bump the tripod. I have to get everything back to right. It's a whole thing. Anyway, I know that the lighting is kind of weird in here today. We just got to deal with it. It's so gloomy out, and now the other dog wants to be pet. Okay, I was talking about my latest cast on, which I'll talk about why I cast this on in a minute. This yarn is my non-superwash fingering weight. So it's called Hippie Lamb is the base. And the colorway is Crown Jewel. I love that color. And this is the Salty Air tee. It's all bunched up on the needle, so you can't really appreciate how beautiful this cable and lace work is. But you'll get a feel for it. I'll try to insert a photo from when I recently did like a Whip Wednesday post where I had steam blocked it and laid it flat, or I think I had it hanging on a white hanger. I don't know. Anyway, do you know I'm almost ready to split for sleeves-ish? And I remembered my second skein has been sitting on my desk uncaked for the whole month that I've been knitting this, and not once did I stop to think about it. So I am hoping that I am that much of a badass yarn dyer that I don't get any like weird color difference. As a yarn dyer, when I look at a skein, see how it's like kind of tonal, like it's a little, there are bits and bobs, color changes. I can see how that shakes out on a project. I can see it. I think that I will be fine. Let's mark my words. This should be the, like I should make this cuter, but this should be the thumbnail. In case I forget to take a thumbnail picture after I'm done recording, this will be the thumbnail. Okay, so speaking of that moment, I just started watching. I didn't know that there was a podcast for this person, but James N. Watts, who I'm sure you've heard of, is a designer. And my friend Sarah just told me there's a podcast. So I started watching, and there was a moment on the most recent episode where James said, thumbnail. And he did like that. And I was laughing because I do that almost every time, and I edit out all my awkwardness. I am inspired by James to embrace the awkward. We have a lot of awkward to talk about today. And speaking of awkward, is it awkward if I tell you that just as I'm talking about this, I am suddenly starving, and we're not going to dinner for another hour? Anyway, you don't care about that because by the time you watch this, dinner has come and gone. But anyway, I'm hungry. So let's hope I don't get hangry while we talk about this. This Salty Air tee is part of a make-along I am co-hosting with my lovely friend Sarah, who has a podcast on YouTube, Coffee Knits with Sarah, and she is also Coffee Knits with Sarah on Instagram, so go follow her on Instagram and YouTube. Go watch her podcast. You will love it. She is so zen. Let me just talk about my friend Sarah for a minute. You guys, maybe you can relate. As a woman in my 40s, I don't like to say middle-aged because I like to imagine that I'm going to die over 100. So that means I have to be 50 or more to reach the middle of the ages that I will achieve. And I will be 44 next week. So I'm not yet middle-aged. And in my mind, I am still either 16 or 21, depending, with a little splash of wisdom and a lot of splash of joint pain and some gray hair, believe it or not. Well, not gray because I'm a redhead, but white. Anyway, we're not going to talk about that. Where was I going with this? Now it's getting really awkward. Oh, yes. As a middle-aged woman, it's hard sometimes to make authentic friends. And the knitting community has brought me some of the most amazing people I have ever met. And I have some really fabulous yarn besties. And Sarah is one of them. Sarah moved back to Michigan. She's originally from Michigan. She moved back from the Baltimore DMV area a little over a year ago. And like literally the day we met, I was just like, you are my cup of tea. And we've traveled together. We've cried together. We've laughed together. We've celebrated life's events together. And Sarah she is so calming to me. She's so encouraging. And if you are needing that in your world, I encourage you to be that for someone else. And you you know how they say your vibe attracts your tribe or whatever the phrasing is? I'm probably butchering it. But anyway, Sarah just volunteered herself to come with me to Chicago. We went last weekend. I was vending at YarnCon, and if we met at YarnCon, hi, hello, thank you so much for saying hi or stopping by my booth or just bumping into me. I bumped into friends that I've known for a few years. I met amazing new people. The energy is incredible. The organizers are incredible. The volunteers are incredible. I had this one volunteer who I told her, I said, you are an angel sent from God, because I was having a little nervous breakdown setting up my booth. I won't go into the details, but I just needed someone to come in and lend me a hand for 10 minutes. She showed up at the right time. She was so calming and amazing. It was great. I often wonder if people who shop at these fiber festivals really appreciate the blood, sweat, and tears that goes into the prep. Not only dyeing and drying and twisting and labeling and photographing, but then traveling and setting up your booth and worrying oh my gosh, did I remember this? Did I remember that? Have I knit a sample? Did I bring enough? Did I bring too much? It's a lot. I had vended the previous weekend at the Ann Arbor Fiber Expo. And if we met there, hi, hello, thanks for stopping by. That was a great show. I had a really good show. I had a 10 by 20 booth. And at YarnCon, I only had a 10 by 10. And I was really stressed. Really stressed. My anxiety was getting the best of me about how to set up my booth. Sarah and this volunteer who helped, who was so sweet, really helped me get everything laid out in a nice way. My booth looked so good. I was so proud. Anyway, where am I going with this? Chicago. I made so many new friends. I met so many great people. I sold a lot of yarn. I have a lot of empty bins, so I need to dye a lot of yarn. We'll get to all that. I have some new colorway ideas. And as I just ever so briefly mentioned, it's my birthday next week. I dye a special colorway for my birthday every year. If you did not know that, my colorway is Aries Baby and It's My Party are two colorways I created for my birthday. I already have this year's in my brain. I just have to get to the dye pots and do it because time. There is never enough time in the day. Yeah. So I've been knitting this. It's fabulous. I love it. I skipped the short rows because that's my kind of crazy. My body, everybody, everybody, no, I should do it this way, right? Because you're seeing it this way. Every body is unique. Every body. My body does not need short rows on sweaters. That's what I should call this episode, but I'm not going to. So I skip them on 99% of the patterns that I knit. And if you are a knitwear designer and you are like, what? It's just me. Maybe my, like when you get a little hump here on your back, I have a little bit of that. I have mild scoliosis. No big deal. I go to the chiropractor. We're good. It's more than you wanted to know, right? Maybe my back hump and my front humps even out, and so I don't need short rows to lift. I don't know, but I skip the short rows, so I'm making some pretty swift progress on this. I don't know what this stitch marker is here to indicate. Do you do that? Do you put progress keepers and you don't know what the heck it's there to remind you about? Yeah, I don't know. So I've been knitting that. I'm looking at my notes to see what I wanted to talk about. Spring. Oh, yes. I wanted to tell you about my next 2 fiber festivals, which I will tell you about while I'm winding this yarn around the cake. So if you are in Michigan or you'd like to travel to Michigan over the next month or 2, I'll be vending at 2 upcoming events. Spring Makers Festival in Charlotte. It's pronounced Charlotte, but it's written Charlotte, right outside of East Lansing, where I went to Michigan State University. Go Green. It's a 1-day event, and it's at a fairgrounds. I don't know. Spring Makers Fest. It's linked on my website. If you scroll down to the bottom of my website, all my show schedule is there. That's like May 18th, I want to say. And then 2 weeks later, the very end of May, beginning of June, I'll be vending at Tip of the Mitt in Petoskey, which is a fun and beautiful area. And I'm going with some friends, and I can't wait because it's going to be a girls' weekend. I'm so excited. Anyway, those are my next 2 shows. I have a lot of yarn to dye for them. Fingers crossed I can get it all done. I also have a wholesale order. FYI, if you're in Michigan, there is a new yarn shop in Grand Rapids called Unwind. Lovely owners, lovely space. I've checked out their website and their photos online, and they reached out for a wholesale order, and we created a custom colorway that I am really geeked about. So that should be to them soon. So go follow them on social media. Because it's a great yarn shop, and Grand Rapids is super fun. So what else am I knitting? I cast on I can never remember the name of this. This is not that hard, Jamie. The Shiftigan, which is a cardigan by Andrea Mowry. And I'm using my own hand dyed in the colorway Beach Sand, which is super popular. Good neutral. And then I am using, if you're familiar, which if you're from Michigan you might be, but if not, you should check it out. There is a fiber mill called Stonehedge. They're like one of the most popular fiber mills in Michigan, which we are dwindling. So they've been around for a long time. They make this yarn called Crazy. It's crazy. It's color shifting. You can see. But what I did, every section has, the lighting in here is atrocious, so forgive me. Every section has turquoise in it, which is one of my favorite colors. I took the 2 skeins and made little balls of all the like color shifts. Does that make sense? Like I wanted each color, well, I guess not everything has turquoise. You can kind of get a sense of the palette. There's more in here. Do you want to see all the rest? I've already used this one. There's this one. Don't mind my nails. I need a manicure so bad. That is yarn dyer life. I already used that one. There's some of that. Anyway, I wanted to look at what I had, basically. I didn't want to have to, like, just go with the flow because I'm a control freak. So the Shiftigan. I'm nearly ready to split for the sleeves. This is fun to knit. I was going to knit the stone crop, and this yarn was caked up, ready to cast that on. I had the pattern, and the more I looked at it, I was like, nope, I don't like the bobbles. I like how it looks. I don't want to knit it. I get a text every time I record too. So I'm happy with that. And I love a steeked cardigan. If you have never steeked a cardigan, seriously, go for it. And here's my one key tip. You know how well, maybe you don't know. So you knit a sweater in the round, right? And you knit some extra stitches right here that will become like where you cut the sweater open, and then you'll pick up and you'll knit a button band. And I've done this several times, so now I'm super confident, but I nailed it the first time. And I knit I don't know where it went. It used to be hanging here. There's a free pattern on Ravelry called Steek This Coffee Cozy or something like that. And it's a little coffee cozy in the round color work. It's like a swatch for you to practice steeking. And there's two options for steeking. You can either pick up a crocheted edge, like if this is your steek column between these two fingers, you would pick up like 2 lines of crochet and you would cut in between. Crochet reinforcement, that's what it's called. Or you can use your sewing machine and do like a zigzag line on either side, and that's what I did because I suck at crochet. It's tedious. I just want to get out the sewing machine and do and be done. And it worked. And I encourage you to steek a sweater because there is no need to knit a cardigan flat. In fact, Andrea Mowry's latest cardigan is the Everyday DRK cardigan, I think it's called. And I'm going to knit it. I'll talk about that another day. But I bought the pattern and I sat down and I rewrote it to knit it in the round and steek it. And I am 99.9% sure it's going to go fine. Probably famous last words. But, yeah, I hate purling. I don't want to purl. I want to knit. So, steeking is the solution. I have something really big I should have teased at the top of the hour. And if you are with me at this point in the show, not only are you a fabulous human, thanks for sticking with me, but I'm going to tease you something right after I tell you about my last whip, which I've talked about this before. Afterthought socks. I knit my toe, I knit my cuff, and all I have to do is, I'm on the wrong side, cut between those 2 needles and knit the heel, which should take me only one evening. And I'm kind of debating staying up really late tonight, and I don't know. There's that. Yes. So the last thing I want to tease you, I've been kind of low-key teasing this for a few months, but very vaguely. This year, so every year around this time, I release a pre-order for an Advent yarn box, which a lot of yarn dyers do. It's something that you pre-order earlier in the year. It's shipped to you closer to the holiday season. And traditionally, it's like an Advent with chocolates or tea, or, I mean, you can buy these things all the time around the holidays. Um, Most dyers do 25 mini skeins. And I hate mini skeins. I hate dyeing them. I hate collecting them. Not my thing. So a few years ago, I switched over to, instead of 25 minis, 5 full-size 100-gram skeins. And this year, I am not calling it an Advent because I want it to be very inclusive of whatever you do celebrate, or even if you don't celebrate anything. I want this to be about, well, in fact, should I tease the theme? I want this to celebrate women, specifically women, because I want to give voice to women who have resisted and fought and paved the way for civil rights, women's rights, racism, sexism, um, fascism, all the stuff that, once again, I mean, it's never gone away. Like, we've never reached the kind of society that we should, right? But that is the theme. I've teased it, so this should come as no surprise. I should have said at the beginning, like, if you don't want to know, maybe I should put that as the title. What's the theme of this year's? I'm calling it a winter surprise. Sorry, the dog just walked up and I thought he was like drooling on my lap. Winter surprise yarn box. And the best of all, oh my gosh, I realized I have several things over here I haven't even talked about yet. My mind is just like bloop, 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 bloop today. Jack, can you sit down? Can you sit down? Go lay down. Go lay down. Okay, this year's box is not just yarn. If you are a spinner, you can buy a fiber box. And I am so geeked about this because if you've been watching, you know that I've really gotten into spinning lately. I wanted to talk about, I don't know if you noticed on my website, but I have a full lineup of spinning fiber braids. And a couple of weeks ago at the Ann Arbor Fiber Expo, I brought my wheel. And I brought a package, one of my colorways of fiber. This is a 4-ounce braid. I'm trying to not get the shiny reflective situation. Oh yeah, I have this. This is leftover from what I've spun. So that's a full braid, and then I had a second one. And I brought my wheel, and while I was, I had a few minutes of downtime here and there, I spun. I'm trying to get like this to focus. I'm still a newbie, so my spinning is not that great. As you can tell, there's like some rando pigtail there. Maybe that should be the... Anyway, just kidding. It won't be the thumbnail. Only you got to see that. What was I talking about? Oh, the box. Yes, you can either order 5 4-ounce braids or 5 full-sized skeins. It's all themed about 5 female voices who have fought and resisted and made a difference in the world and deserve to be celebrated. The box will have, you'll get a bag, you'll get a custom stitch marker, which I'm going to talk about this another day. You're going to get a bunch of goodies. It's really fun. It'll be delivered in November. You can open it whenever you want. It's like a treat yourself. And I'm recording this in 2025. So if you're watching this way into the future, you know how this year ended or didn't. But you know that this year already, we're here in April and it is a dumpster fire. And if you disagree with me, I would just say challenge yourself to really critically analyze the data, not the rhetoric, the data, and figure out if this is one of the best years, if humanity is being uplifted or not. And I can guarantee you, humanity is suffering at an all-time level. So, I'm rambling because I'm passionate about this. I'm really excited about this year's surprise yarn box. That's what I'm calling it. I pour my heart and soul into these boxes. They live rent-free in my brain for months. I start thinking about it in December of the prior year. Right around the holiday season, I start thinking, what do I want to do next holiday season? And I have thought long and hard about this yarn box. And I've spent many hours working on it over the last few weeks in particular to get everything lined up. Anyway, they're going on pre-order hopefully next week, maybe before. I have a little note on my desk that I might release it this weekend, but that kind of depends on how I get my things together, my ducks in a row. So, what should we call this episode now that we're here towards the end? How surprise yarn box teaser. I have to think about that. This is what I think about while I'm editing the video. I bought something new and big and it hasn't arrived yet. Actually, I bought a few things. And I'll tell you about that next time. But I want to tell you about two last things. Last time, I talked about my hand pain, which is back. If you don't know, I had hand surgery on my thumb last November for trigger finger. I also had I had trigger finger in my middle finger, but a cortisone shot took care of it. Although now when I press on it, I can feel it. Anyway, a couple weeks ago, setting up my trailer at the Ann Arbor Fiber Expo, I don't know what I was doing, clearly not thinking, and I hurt my hand. And when I was doing whatever I was doing, all of a sudden I could feel a bump right. You can kind of see like this thing right here. I could feel like a lump in my hand, and I called my doctor the next day, and I was like, suddenly I feel a hard lump in my hand, right where I had surgery. So I went, they did an x-ray, they're like, it's scar tissue. They recommended I get this tool, which you basically like scrape your hand and it breaks up the scar tissue. And it's better if you put lotion on it first, like thick hand cream. So I've been doing that. You're supposed to do it multiple times a day. I have not, but it does help. So if you have scar tissue anywhere, you might want to do that. What else? Oh, I can't believe I haven't talked about this yet. My friend Kirby, who, if you know, you know, she designed my logo, my business logo. She makes project journals for makers, and she just released these amazing, like, binder journals. Green is my favorite color, so I'm geeked about this. I added some, like, what do I want to say? Spinning journal. Do I want to talk about this? Yes, I want to talk about this. So you're just going to have to hang in there. I added these colorful binder pages because it was just my jam. But there's different packs that you can get for this refillable journal. This is like for the spinning. I don't know if you can really see that because the lighting is wonky. You can get blank pages. You can get a monthly journal, like a calendar style. You can get grid paper. You can get, if you're a big reader, you can get like your book log. There's different packs. And what I really love about these binders, not only is it like a good size, but it has these card holders. That's nice. It has the pen holder. Love that. Yeah, these are great. So if you're a paper person like me, go check out. I will link her and all the show notes below so you can look that up. I'm definitely going to use this to keep track of like planning my projects, keeping notes on my spinning, things like that. I just love paper. I feel like if I write it down, it's more likely to get done. It's more likely to get remembered because I can refer back to it. It's a good thing. So, I think I've run out of time, not only for your attention, but the fact that I have to go to a dinner party. So, thanks for joining me, and I can't believe this is 100 episodes. Yeah, this is wild. Okay, so if we just met again, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to everyone who has shopped my little booth at recent events. And the best part about being a yarn dyer is seeing the magic that happens in someone's eyes when they can see a yarn that grabs their attention and fills their heart with joy, and they start to envision their next favorite project. And I just want to share that with you. Yeah, I'm overjoyed. I'm sure that this episode has been super rambly, so I'm just going to zip it and let you carry on with your day. And until next time, happy knitting, happy spinning, happy crochet. Have a great day. Bye.